Welcome back to the Blue Door Pub Thunderdome for another Bull and Andy Carlson, Minnesota's 87 best daily podcast, the show about everything and nothing. Yeah, 5 days a week. It's morning style radio, except on demand and whenever you want it. So it's just that much better. Yeah, Sin Shotgun is going to be Crissy Froyd of SB Nation USA today. We're going to have a fun little chat about quarterbacks, football, life. Why is she an LSU fan? Why? Tell a friend, spread the word, iTunes, Stitcher, radio. But before we get Crissy in the building, you need a better night's sleep. And the thing about me, so going 110% all the time, 100 miles an hour, and don't always get enough sleep, but quality over quantity is important. Like if you're the type of person who's out there grinding, gets 4, 5, 6, 7 hours of sleep, and you're not getting the recommended 8, yeah, make sure it's high quality. Make sure you go with Leesa Sleep. Leesa, bullshow.co/Leesa, Leesa is going to take you right there, and you save $75 off your order if you use promo code Andy, ANDY. Also, they got their summer code going on right now, so you can double dip on that. $100 off for the summer code, $75 off for me. Leesa.com, Leesa.com. And the wife and I, we got our queen size mattress. It's fantastic, and it's firm, it breathes, and it's got a 100 nights guarantee. Except we didn't need that. I knew right away that first night's sleep just felt refreshed and felt like you're able to get the job done, and then you don't have that mid-afternoon feeling where you just want to kill me. Even if you're on low sleep, Leesa will make sure that you get a better quality night's sleep. Again, hit it up, Leesa.com, Leesa.com, code Andy, $75 off. Hit it up. All right, let's get Crissy Froyd up in the building. And coming on into the Blue Door Pub Thunderdome for the first time, hopefully for multiple times, Crissy Froyd. Follow her on Twitter at Crissy_Froyd. SB Nation USA Today, all that good stuff. Crissy, good to talk to you today.
You too.
How was the intro? I feel like in my endeavors with people in the sports media sphere, like everyone writes for like 17 outlets.
Oh, yeah. For sure. I've been all over the place. I mean, right now I write for the LSU division of SB Nation, and I write for the Titans Wire and the Bills Wire on the USA Today Sports Media Group, and then every now and then I'll go and write for a few other websites. So, yeah, I've been everywhere. I've done a lot.
Now, do you enjoy the sort of free agent, do what you want, scenery always changes, you can write about whatever interests you, multiple interests, or do you just want the one gig, the one Crissy Froyd gig?
I mean, in a way, it's really fun to hop around, to meet new people, to explore different teams. But ultimately, in my career, I want to end up with that one team. I like the team environment. I like knowing that you have like your own sort of family as a team. I don't want to be everywhere with a bunch of different people all the time. So
when Jim Wyatt gets axed, you're all in there with the Titans.
Yeah, for sure. That's the team that if I don't do the Titans, I'll do LSU. But I mean, I'll be happy to go anywhere because I am 17 right now, and I'm a college student, and I'm getting my first gig now. So. Wait,
what?
Well, I mean, I'm looking for my first gig.
No.
So I don't have one.
You buried the lead. You're only 17?
Yeah.
Oh,
I am.
That's
I'm
amazing.
a 13-year-old college sophomore, so I'll be a junior hopefully by next year. I have about 40 credit hours right now, so I'm off to a pretty fast start.
All right. So that just blew my mind because, obviously, since you're 17 and a college sophomore, you're ahead of the curve in terms of maturity. And
I like to think so.
Yeah. And when I was 17, Andy didn't quite have his stuff together, and and now I feel bad at 31 at the cusp of 32. It was like, I should really step up my game and get on Freud's level.
It just kind of worked out that way. I didn't really plan for it to. I actually didn't like my high school that much, and that was my motivation behind graduating early. And my parents were like, well, maybe you should do that dual credit college thing. And then I did, and before I knew it, I was like 3 years ahead.
Man, so you're going to buzz through college before you even get to the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Wicked. Oh, have you thought about if you get a column, calling it the Freudian slip?
No, nothing like that.
You can have that for free. I'm just a bundle of ideas. That's what I do. All right, so now I'm infinitely intrigued. Why don't you walk it back a little bit? Although you don't have many years to walk it back, but what's your story? How did you get involved in writing, and how did you get to where you are today?
Well, it's funny because I was in this journalism class as an elective because I had just transferred and they didn't have my class that I had transferred to from my other high school. So I was like, oh, let's just try journalism. And I hated it, and I thought it was the stupidest thing. And then we wrote the sports journalism thing, and I made a bad grade on it. And I was just like, this is dumb. Like, why would people write about sports like this? Like, it's just – and then I had gotten involved in our school's journalism program the year later just to be involved in something. And I ended up really, really liking it. And then I went to – I had always been a football fan, and my dad took me to a Titans game, the second one I've been so far. And I remember watching it, and the team had just gotten so much worse since the first time that I had gone to a Titans game before. And I just thought about it, and I was like, what is it that is causing this team to be so bad right now? And I wanted to analyze it. And we had this essay project coming up in English class, and I was like, okay, like I'll do that. And so I wrote this 8-page paper, and then my teacher gave me 100 on it. He was like, this is the best paper I've ever seen, like in all my years of teaching. And he was like, have you thought about going to sports journalism? I was like, no, but I mean, I could try it. And then I got on with campus sports and fan-sided, and then I just kind of just kept going from there and made a lot of good connections and just got really lucky.
Now, your age, since you just blew my mind, it's going to come up frequently, so don't worry about it. But so yeah. your quarterback growing up was Jake frickin' Locker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, so
I mean, we had Vince Young and a few other people, Kerry Collins. Before
I was gonna say, like you probably were too young for Vince Young.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I still went to all the training camps as a kid. I lived in Houston for a while, and then I lived in the Nashville area. It just kind of worked out that way. So I've been around the Titans for my entire life.
All right. So where's the current home base? Houston?
Yes.
Now, I feel like the AFC South, like there isn't like a strong, like hardcore rivalry. Like there isn't, Packers Bears down there, but
no.
there's all just a little bit of animosity.
Well, I guess a little bit. There's no particular team that I see and I'm like, oh, that's the Titans' biggest rival. I mean, they really all are. If I had to say that there's one team that I dislike the most in the division, it's probably the Texans. Just because I guess it just stems from the fact that the Oilers used to be here and now the Texans are here and it's kind of hard to accept change. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I suppose that you got that dynamic going on. Living in the backyard of the rival is like Texans fans on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most blowhardy, 1 being pretty cool. Like, where do Texans fans fall?
Probably about a 10.
Think you're a little biased.
A little bit.
Yeah, it happens. So, what is the end game? Like, where did the whole stereotypical "where do you see yourself in 5 years" thing?
Where do I see myself in 5 years?
Yeah.
I see myself working in public relations and broadcast with an NFL team. Like, what I've always wanted to be like since I started this was just like Amy Wells. I want to do what she does. And it's so weird because different football teams, they have these different positions. So that public relations broadcasting role is not necessarily available at every team. So I'm willing to be flexible with that. But what she does is what I really like to do. Mm-hmm.
Now, working for the teams, I got a couple of friends who work for the Vikings and write for them and produce content. You almost have to turn in your journalism card because it's not objective journalism. It's more PR, team fluff, and it's great. And you get some great human interest stories. Fans get to learn more about the players. But it's funny. Some fans will never get it. They'll be like, "How can you call yourself a journalist when you work for the team?" It's like, "Oh yeah, because I'm basically PR. I'm about fluffing the team up."
Yeah.
Like I love how the Texans did it. They're kind of gangster, like the main journalist in town, Jim Wyatt at the Tennessean, who maybe had some tough takes on them from time to time. They're like, yeah, let's just hire that guy.
Yeah, I've actually I met with Jim at the Super Bowl, and it is kind of funny to see that transition. But I think that he likes being with the team, and I think he does a really good job, and he's helped me a lot actually. Other than, gosh, who was it? There was another guy that worked for the Tennessean that helped me right off the get, and he helped me edit my Alex Tanny story, which was the first I wrote. And then the second person to take a look at it was Jim Wyatt. So, yeah, he's done a lot to help me. And then after that, he introduced me to John McClain, and that was where my networking began.
Oh, yeah. You're already rubbing shoulders with some of the titans of the industry, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
All right, so besides Wyatt and McClain and Amy Wells, who you mentioned, who in the industry do you look up to? Do you model yourself after?
I mean, those are really my main people. I talk to a lot of different people with other teams. I have a lot of respect for the people that work in the front office for the Patriots, but those are the main people that I talk to and do my work with.
All right, so you mentioned the Alex Tanny piece, and I still hold that if he didn't have that trick shot video, no one would care about Alex Tanny. But he does, so they do. Thoughts?
Well, I think he's better than Matt Castle. I think he's a lot better than Matt Castle. I think that Matt Castle is out of his prime right now. And in his performances against the Texans last year and against the Jaguars, he made a lot of mistakes, and he did not look good to me. And you can make the argument that Alex Tanny hasn't really seen a lot of action. And, he had that one good Colts game. But I can't ignore the fact that every single time Alex Tanny gets out on the field, he does something memorable, and all the fans are calling for him after that. So I think if we really were like, okay, this is our backup guy, this is the guy that we're going to give a chance, I think he could really be something, and nobody has done that yet.
Well, I mean,
right now it's based more off of theory than numbers. But I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to be better than Matt Castle, and I think that there's a lot of other people that hold that opinion too.
Well, as a Vikings fan, I can tell you that Matt Castle never had a prime.
Well, I mean, I thought that he did really well in the absence of Tom Brady. I'll give him that much.
Well, I mean, you have the most high-powered offense, the record-setting offense, and then you just step in and sort of press the button. You're going to look okay in Tom Brady's absence in 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Speaking of fair, so the Titans, I always look at the AFC South where it's almost it's in college football territory, and everyone sort of picks a cutesy-wootsy team. I like the Titans. I like the Jaguars. Both teams are stockpiled with young talent. I actually think the Titans will do something with it, though. And now you're adding Eric Decker. And I think Mariota's set up to really take a leap into like that top-tier quarterback frame.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that Eric Decker is going to be the top passing target, no question, this season. And I think maybe Delaney Walker will be behind him. But, yeah, Mariota has really, really grown since he's gotten drafted. And he's really impressed me because I was not sold on him for the longest time. And I think that if he can stay healthy, that he's definitely our guy for a long time.
Is it weird that Mariota looks like Bruno Mars if he was on HGH?
I never thought about that until you mentioned it, but now that makes sense. I can see it.
Now you'll never not see it. Yeah.
For sure.
So that class, you were more on Team Winston than Team Mariota. Like you were hoping that the Bucs would take Mariota 1.
No, not really.
Sort of indifferent between the two of them.
Yeah.
No, I gotcha. Take me back to Jake Locker, because as of course, a Vikings fan, I was sort of in on Jake Locker. And when the Titans scooped him up before we had a chance to, I was like, all right, fine. Maybe this Christian Ponder guy will work out. It didn't work out in either case. But your lasting memories of Jake Locker?
My lasting memories of Jake Locker?
Yeah, like what stays with you about good old number 10?
Well, I remember in the beginning, I was totally sold on him. I thought that he was the quarterback of the future. Everyone in my family thought he was the quarterback of the future. And the games I did see him play in, he did really, really well in. And then after that, I kind of left the football team because obviously I was young. But so my last memories of Jake Locker were Jake Locker retiring because he got injured. So.
Yeah. It's always weird to think because, like, Ponder is out of the league. Blaine Gabbert is essentially out of the league. And basically, Kaepernick is out of the league for reasons, but basically the only guys left are Cam Newton and Andy Dalton of that 2011 class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's true.
Speaking of classes, you seem to have a thing for the 2014 class. What's up with that?
I don't know. Those are the first quarterbacks that I really started analyzing. So I guess I'm kind of biased because that's the very beginning of my career, and those are the ones that I keep with me. But I think that there's a lot of quarterbacks in the draft class of 2014 that had just some unfortunate circumstances that could have been a lot better under different circumstances. That's just kind of the theme for really the several members of that class.
Gee, I have no idea what you're talking about. Quarterbacks of the 2014 class who catch a bad break and things could have turned out differently if the universe didn't conspire against Andy never having happiness. Sorry. So when they're coming out in 2014, how did you have them ranked?
How did I have them ranked? I didn't really have them ranked. I just they were kind of my guinea pigs when I started writing.
Yeah. But who'd you favor? Who'd you like out of the bunch of the Bortles, the Manziels, the Teddys, the Carrs, etc.?
Let's see. My two favorites, the two that I did the most work on, are probably Zach Mettenberger and Johnny Manziel.
Oh no, gee, the LSU fan like Zach Mettenberger. Who knew?
I know. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. And with Manziel, when it's not my team, I always just root for entertainment. That's why I was big on Manziel. That's why I'm really big on Patrick Mahomes, too. But it's just really unfortunate that he couldn't get his stuff together because I think he may not have been a good quarterback, but he would have been fun, like third-party, objectively watching football.
Yeah. I think as a quarterback, he relied too much on his mobility. He would have to be super mobile. He wasn't the greatest passer to me, and I think that he was a little bit undersized, and he just obviously couldn't get his stuff together off the field. So I don't see a future for Manziel at this point.
Yeah. Oh, here's what should happen. Like, they should have let him go back to college because he came out as a redshirt sophomore. They should have let him go back to Texas A&M for 2 years. I mean, someone would have been down with that. That'd been great.
I think he actually did go back for classes.
Yeah.
I heard something about that.
Yeah. All right. So Mettenberger, besides the statuesque 6'6", strong arm, blah 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 stuff, what else sold you on him?
Well, just the fact that he's a strong arm quarterback and the fact that he did so well for LSU, because LSU has been pretty bad at the quarterback position since the beginning of time, basically. And I
will not let you besmirch Jordan Jefferson like that.
Oh my gosh, Jordan Jefferson is horrible. Everyone knows that.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, I think that if he hadn't have torn his ACL in that game versus Arkansas before the Outback Bowl, I think he probably would have gotten drafted by the Vikings very high. And one thing that I've talked to a few former LSU quarterbacks before, and they tell me that if you're drafted late, that it totally basically screws you over and the rest of your career, because if a quarterback's drafted late, it's because he's not going to be taken seriously as a starter and possibly not even as a backup forever. And then when he went to Tennessee, there was no supporting cast in Tennessee whatsoever. Horrible offensive line. You've got Ken Wisenhunt, who's bad at developing quarterbacks. And so you're going to put a pocket passer, a strict pocket passer, who has no mobility whatsoever, in a position where he has no protection and nobody to throw to and expect it to be okay. And I don't know. I thought that the Titans holding onto him and really drafting him in the first place was not a good decision. I thought it was going to be a bad fit, and he has no mentor to learn from whatsoever. So it was just a bad situation.
Yeah. People were clamoring up here, back when Norv Turner was the OC, that he's used to strong arm, vertical passers. So we're talking about Derek Carr. People loved him. Mettenberger was in the conversation too. There's just something about Teddy though. I don't know. Like, the intangibles of Teddy at Louisville just got to me.
Mhm.
Yeah. But so Mettenberger should have thrown for like 9,000 yards, by the way, since he had OBJ and Jarvis Landry. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what can you do? Diverting into segue into Vikings talk. So Danielle Hunter, you knew him at LSU. He only had 4.5 sacks there, but whatever. I think he's primed to become one of the premier defensive ends in the league this year as it becomes a full-time starter. Your thoughts?
I actually I haven't done any work on him.
You haven't done any work on the Adonis of Danielle Hunter?
No, I have not.
All right, but just as a fan at LSU, what was your impressions of him when he was there?
I didn't even watch him at LSU. Like, I really have not done any work on him. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Something you have done work on is Teddy versus Sam Bradford. Thoughts on how that's going to shake out?
Well, I think that it was really bad for Teddy when he tore his ACL in training camp, obviously. So that's a super long recovery time. And then they had Bradford come in, and Bradford blew everyone away, in my eyes, at least. And I think at this point, Teddy is going to be out of a job because of that. And it's not a question of, does Teddy fit into this offense, because he can make the quick time throws, and that's good for their offensive system, the new one that they're bringing in. But I don't think the Vikings are going to wait for him to bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
And since Bradford did look so good last year, I think that this is going to be his team for now. And then if he fails to play at the level that he was able to last year, then they're going to be back in the quarterback market. But it's not even about how good Bradford did last year. It's about the fact that he was under such difficult conditions, and he did some really good stuff with that.
Yeah. I feel like Bradford did have a career year last year, but I feel like he's like an old-timey game show where it's like you got the prize in hand. It's not a great prize, but it's all right, and that's Sam Bradford. Or do you want what's behind door number 2? And that's been Bradford his entire career. Like the Rams dumped him. They went and got Jared Goff. The Eagles dumped him. Then they got Carson Wentz. But now the Vikings are in a weird spot. It's like, all right, so do we keep the prize in the hand, or do we see what's behind the door? Like maybe Teddy can bounce back and become the quarterback we all thought he was going to be. We don't know what to do.
But, I mean, like I said, I think that if they do give Teddy the time to bounce back, there's a 50-50 chance that he's going to become the starter, just like he used to be. But at this point, I really do think that Bradford has taken the reins, and that if he does continue to do well with his team, that Teddy's not going to be around for very much longer.
Hell, we should just clear the slates and bring in Manziel, like we wanted to originally in 2014.
I mean, I think they will bring in another quarterback soon. And then if Bradford totally flops like he does have the potential to, then they'll be back in the quarterback market, and they may be rolling with an entirely new set of guys here in the next few years.
Yeah, it's very possible. But as a Vikings fan, I'm used to that. Just completely whatever. Burn it down, start over. Yeah. What's your take on Coach O down in Death Valley?
Coach Orgeron?
Yeah.
I did not like him at all at first. I hated him. I really did. But he's grown on me, and just the fact that he's an offensive-minded guy really appeals to me, because LSU has just really failed to get things going on offense. It's been a really, really long time since we've gotten anything going on offense. And I think that he's made some really good moves. I think he's going to get in some good guys for us as far as recruiting goes. So far, I like what he's doing with this team. I think he's totally turned it around. But it's really only time's going to tell, because he is a new guy.
No, what do you think about? Gosh, the name's blanking on me. A white hat guy. Like, did he get a raw deal or no?
Wait, who are you talking about?
The former LSU head coach. I feel really dumb because I can't think of his name.
Oh,
right
Les Miles.
Yeah.
Les Miles.
Yeah.
I think Les Miles really appealed to the fans. He did make some good moves. He did recruit some good guys. But I do think that ultimately he failed to look at the offense as a whole. I think that he didn't focus as much on the offense as he could have. And I think that if he did, and if he would have paid a little bit more attention to that he wouldn't be gone right now.
Does LSU, do they make the college playoff in the next 3 years?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we have a young team right now, but there's a lot of talent on that team, and we're finally starting to solve our issue at the quarterback position for the first time in about 4 years. So I think that we're really headed in the right direction right now.
Oh, man, that 2013 LSU team had Ethan Posick as a backup center as a freshman. That's dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've always had this question, and you can answer this better than I can, but LSU always is stacked with like 5-star talent on the O-line, at receiver, cornerback, linebacker, basically everywhere except for quarterback. And it's always a conundrum.
Yeah.
Like how can they not get at least a quasi-stud quarterback in there?
Well, what they need to do, and what I think that they are doing right now, is bring more focus to offense and the quarterback position. Because if you don't pay attention to the quarterback position, and if you never develop your quarterbacks properly, and none of your quarterbacks ever go to the NFL except for a few, and the few that do end up totally flopping, the really good high school recruits, the ones that are ranked top in the nation, they're going to be like, why should I go there? Why should I go to the school where no one makes it to the NFL? And then if you do, you're going to have a hell of a time.
Yeah. Do you think it's almost like a knock on those quarterbacks because there's too much talent around them? Like they have all day to throw. The receivers always get open. They always got a great running game, and they're sort of their progression, the credit that's due to them, they don't get it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because that always struck me as weird because Bama, like talent everywhere. They got Julio Jones and whatnot, except then they got Greg McElroy or. Yeah, the Miami Hurricanes back in the day, they got future first-rounders all over the place, but Ken Dorsey's their quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Titans this year, what's your outlook on them?
I think we're going to do well. I think that we're going to clinch the AFC South, and I think we're going to make the playoffs and then have a run for the whole I really was about to say conference, like we're talking college football again.
Yeah.
I think that they can be in the mix to win the AFC Championship if things go as good as they can.
Thoughts when Malarkey was retained as the interim tag was removed from him?
I think it was a good move. I like what he's done with this team. But what I look more at is John Robinson. I think that John Robinson is the one who's really turned this team around. But the whole coaching staff, the whole front office staff, all the cleaning that they've done there, I think is good. It's kind of like what's happened at LSU. LSU's done a lot of cleaning in their front office and coaching staff too. So I think they're headed in the right direction. I think they've made all the right moves so far.
Yeah, Robinson coming in, just making moves and acquiring picks and assembling probably. It's not quite at Dallas's level yet, but you can make a case that they're the second or third best line in the league with Conklin and Luan out there. And yeah, you just run. You're going to use up DeMarco Murray, which is fine. And then you got Henry coming in the backfield. He's going to be phenomenal as well. If I'm Marcus Mariota, now you got Decker. You got a couple more years of Delaney Walker. Tajay Sharp might turn into something. Who knows? You got to be feeling pretty damn good.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's got all the weapons that he needs, and I think that was something that the Titans have needed to address for the past couple of years is just having those offensive weapons, having more than just Delaney Walker to throw to. So I think that they're really set on offense, and I think that now that Mariota is more developed, that the passing game is going to be really, really good this year.
How come, what was his name? Was it Ole Miss running back / wide receiver that was in Tennessee for a couple of years? Oh, Dexter McCluster. How come he never turned out?
I think it was just the offense as a whole was just not together. And I think a lot of guys suffered from that. And we had a lot of guys that just didn't care enough, a lot of guys that weren't committed enough. But I think that we fixed those issues. So it wasn't just Dexter McCluster. I think it was a lot of people.
All right. So how old are you going to be when you graduate from college? 19?
Yeah, somewhere in the ballpark of 19 or 20.
Now, most people when they graduate from college at 19, like end up teaching at MIT or go into studying cold fusion, but you're going to write about the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
I like it. I have a great love and respect for people who know what they want to do and then just do it. I mean, because you see so many miserable people out there who are afraid to go after what they want or are stuck in a job because it pays the bills, etc. I have a lot of respect for you hopping on this so quick.
Well, thank you. I've done everything that I can with what I have, and I think I've done it pretty quickly. And
when I talk to the wife, and she'll be like, "What'd you do at work today?" "Oh, I just called 17-year-old girls on the phone. Not a big deal. Don't worry about it." What's coming up from you? What should people be looking forward to over the summer?
Well, I've got a lot of interviews coming up. I'm looking at a lot of shadowing opportunities within the NFL, trying to get on maybe with game day staff. That's pretty much closed for now. Mm-hmm. But I'm doing what I can with what I have, trying to network with people, trying to do more, just just little opportunities here and there in the NFL until I build my experience up enough to hopefully get an internship, and then things can really take off from there.
Who's been your favorite interview that you've done so far?
Oh, Matt Hasselbeck, for sure.
Yeah. Hasselbeck, phenomenal on TV. And I like that towards the end of his career, he was just like, yeah, whatever. I really hope I don't play. I'm just sort of cashing a check. I'm just here. And then he had to play for the Colts for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just the fact that he's such a good person and the fact that he's such a good analyst. And you feed him the question, he gives you this great response. Like, it's super easy to do. It was the easiest interview I've ever done in my life.
Oh, I love easier interviews. I'll tell you that much. She's Crissy Froyd. Follow her on Twitter at Crissy_Froyd, SB Nation, USA Today Sports Media Group. Crissy, really appreciate your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome, great stuff from Crissy Froyd, and I just love it. Yeah, there's so much talent out there in sports media. Maybe that's why jobs are so hard to get. The full-time gigs are like the holy grail out there in sports media. Don't I know it? And the fact that there's so much passion and talent, people just out there willing to work for free or next for free and do great work and just bring it, like Crissy does. It's sort of a catch-22 in that we're cannibalizing all the jobs, and that the sites and the aggregators just will pay $25 to a kid who really loves doing it, as opposed to hiring full-time staff. And I don't know. Maybe that's just what the market is, but who really knows? Ooh, what I do know is Blue Door Pub, the kimchi tachos right now, the tots of time. Here's what you do. You got a bed of the world-famous tots. You put on queso on top. You put chili, lime, pork, and kimchi, and then their whirly sauce, which is their house sriracha aioli. Just so delicious. Hit it up. All three Twin Cities locations, St. Paul, Longfellow, University, Oncoma, the MBDP.com. All right, we are out of here for today. Thursday, we have some scheduling issues, and I'm going to be out of town. One of our weekly guests fell through, so I actually may run a best of episode or bring back one of my favorite interviews, so look out for that. Oh, also, Friday, 100th episode of Boo. Come on, baby. Come on. And it's all from the support of you guys, and we love the listeners, and I can remember the first episode of Purple for the Win. 6 downloads. 6. Yeah, and I kept going because I thought 6 was a lot. I thought 6 was good. Even if it was 2 of them were someone downloading twice, so it was like 4 people actually listened to what I had to say. I was still blown away. And I still get blown away by, look at the numbers every single day. Love you guys. Glad that we can put out some content that, entertains you, gets you through the day, and I don't take that lightly. I know that I always have to bring it when you're giving me an hour of your time every single day. It's special. I love you, man. I love you, man. iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. Subscribe to the Purple for the Win YouTube, cranking out daily-ish content over there. Ooh, Andy Drinks Beer, brand new episode is out. I think we did 3rd Street Brews Minnesota Gold Lager. It was delicious. Check it out. And if you enjoyed both, tell a friend. Spread the word at the Jerome Homie Army, because that's how we grow and stay alive. Thanks, producer Allie, for making us not sound so stupid today. But for Crissy Froyd, I'm Andy Carlson saying, Annyeong, sayonara, and bye-bye. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening to Bowl with Andy Carlson, Minnesota's 87th best daily podcast. Download the show on iTunes. Everyone's middle name is Jerome.